So after the batteries have been installed, we're then going to hook up our cable back. The reason we're doing that is because we still need to communicate with it. All we've done is just put a different power source in the 6920. All right, it's the same thing. Just make sure it's fully threaded down. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm going to turn on the 650 display because at the very beginning I always said I always connect everything before I turn something on. I'm going to turn the display back on. Okay, so again, there's the 650 main menu. We are going to go into the SON menu. Now, if I did this right, because of the power SON is now unchecked, it should allow me to communicate. And it works. That's how I know the AA batteries are not only working, but now the power is coming right from the 6920. That's imperative and key to starting your unattended sampling. We usually get a lot of phone calls because that power SON is not unchecked. So it's a little bit, hidden inside the system setup, but not too hard to find. So now we're going to do run. We only had two options. The first one was discrete sample. The second one is unattended sample. So we're going to select that guy. Wonderful. Now hopefully you guys can see the screen okay. For unattended sampling, at the very top, we have interval is set to 1 minute. I did mention that if you had set at 15 minutes, you could get 150,000 readings for 30 days or 30 to 40 days. So one of the cool things that we're going to be able to see here, if we change the interval to 1 minute, it's actually going to tell us how long it will last on the batteries. So first line with 1 minute, the start date. Because this is meant for unattended sampling, that means you're not going to be there. So in most cases, either the customer is going to start it right away, or they're going to start it, let's just say, Monday, 8 a.m. And these are the options that the 6920 can give you, so it makes it very versatile. So you could set it up before the weekend, put it down whole, leave it, and on Monday it's going to start data logging. So because I want to show you just as an example, we are just going to do something on the spot. So what I will do is set the time for, right now I show 10:19 on my 650 display. So what we're actually going to do is give myself a little bit of time. So I'm going to go 10:22, enter. Now the duration of the days is always, it's always set for 90, but it can be literally as long as the battery life lasts for. Just to avoid any problems, I always make the duration much longer than the actual sampling. The reason for is you just won't never have any hiccups, and you're always going to stop the data logging process when you're done. So it'll just avoid any problems. So usually keep it at 90 or more. So the file is the same thing. You would actually create a file name. So you could put it under your own name, or perhaps the site location of where you're at. So just as an example, I'm going to call it A and then B, C. Excellent. Okay, so with that being said, I press enter. Now I mentioned that battery volts with all those guys plugged in is 13.3 volts. At 1 minute intervals, it's going to last for 6 days and 26 seconds. But the memory will be good for 14.3 days. So it gives you a lot, but almost less than a week to change the batteries out. That obviously changes when you change the interval, so it lasts much longer. Tells me my first sample is in a minute and 28 there. View parameters to log. So any of the sensors I had activated, it will log for those. Now, I'm going to start logging. It will ask me, are you sure to start logging? Yes, absolutely. So I go, yes. Now, a lot of customers ask me, how do I know it starts working? Well, here's the funny thing. Go to the bottom, it tells you to stop logging. So what I'm going to do, because we're at about 20 seconds now before it starts to data log, I'm going to go ahead and power the 650 display off. I'm also going to remove the cable on the top of my 6920 here. Beautiful. So with that being said, because the intervals are set for 1 minute, I am going to just quickly talk about a couple other things to show you guys that while everything's been disconnected, it is data logging. And then once I piece everything back together, I'll show you how we can